Hi, I'm Kim Kabensky, and I'm here with Dr. Nancy Bryan. She is an esteemed member on our scientific advisory board for LifeVantage. And the purpose of this video is we just wanted to sit down and answer some very commonly asked questions to all of those who are either new to LifeVantage or even people that have been in LifeVantage for a while and want to have accurate answers to a lot of these questions. Dr. Nancy comes to LifeVantage with a background in molecular biochemistry. She is a doctor of pharmacy and her PhD in pharmacology. And it's a big blessing to have her within our company. I'm going to start out by just going down a list of questions for her to answer. And the first one, I would love to talk about our manufacturing process in LifeVantage and how we go above and beyond industry standards.
Oh, it is such an important question because there's so many nutritional products out there today, and people don't understand what goes into the back of the sides of when they're put out. So, for instance, just to give you an idea, when we have our raw ingredients sourced, the very first thing that we do is we go out and we make sure that the activity components that we need to have inside of our raw ingredients are actually there. You know what? Most people would think, well, of course, that would be something that people know and understand would be there, but they don't. And it's not a requirement, it's not a regulation. And as a result of it, oftentimes we'll give back some of the raw ingredients that they're trying to give to us, and we will purchase only the ones that meet our high standards. And you know what? They take that back and sell to other people that don't check that, right? And then it goes past that. We bring those raw ingredients back to the manufacturing site. They're tested again. When the whole process is done, we test it again. And then when we're all finished, it goes out to a third party to be tested again. And because of that, those are some of the standards that allow us to be able to make some of the claims that we make, because when the FDA has come and taken a look, they can see what we're doing. And they really appreciate what we're doing, because the FDA is not required to take a look at nutrient products. Many people will ask that question, is it FDA approved? The FDA is there for pharmaceutical products. They're there for synthetic pharmaceutical products. They are not there for nutritional products. However, they do dictate what things can be sold, what things can be marketed, and what can be said about those nutrients. And one of the big reasons that we go to that is we want to have a very consistent product. That's what separated out back in the 50s and 60s, people purchasing pharmaceutical products versus them going into nutrients. There was not a standard set for there to be consistency in nutrients. And what we wanted to do was be the first in that category to set that huge standard. And that's what we do.
Can you also explain the patents and help people understand that each pill that leaves our facility has to do exactly the same as the other pills in the bottle? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that is exactly to the point that we're talking about. For us to ensure the claims that we're making and the things that we're stating are going to happen, and just for our overall integrity of our company, of what we're expecting a product to do, for it to do that, we have to have the consistency in each one of those raw ingredients, to have the activity component within each one of those raw ingredients, so that when they're blended and become something special, that component is always there. And we know that every single time when someone takes one of those products, they can expect the same kind of activity to occur in their body.
I know that it's not common to be able to patent natural ingredients.
Correct.
So
And
ours is
so,
special.
and the reason that we are able to is because we can show that consistency. That's part of it. But a lot of our patenting process has to do with our actual processes and manufacturing things that we are doing. So it's not just on the raw ingredients and what they become. It's also on the actual manufacturing processes and how we're producing that product.
I think another question that's very common for people to ask is, are your ingredients certified organic? Can you explain why?
But you know what? It's I don't even really begin to know how to address that. We are so far above what an organic standard is. Organic's kind of the bottom of the first type of certification in terms of making sure that there's something that's clean. We go so far beyond that. That's why we have something called the NSF, the National Safety Foundation standard. That's on our bottles. We also go past that. And we actually, because we have several of our products that are very instrumental in a lot of athletes, we have something called Banned Substance Control Group. The Banned Substance Control Group is a very, very, very high quality standard to be able to hit. And what that's saying is that there's absolutely nothing within that product that is going to cause someone harm. More importantly, it's not going to advance an athlete's performance by artificial outside ingredients. And that's really, really important for people to know and understand, because we do have a lot of athletes that want to be optimizing their health, and they can feel comfortable taking this because of the fact that we know we don't have ingredients within this that would be considered some of the banned substances that can be out there.
How would you respond to someone that says, I'm allergic to green tea or caffeine or any of the ingredients in some of our products?
Well, the number one question I'll often ask as a healthcare person is, what do you mean by allergic? Tell me a little bit about your reaction. And if they're telling me it's something like a rash, or they itch, or their stomach gets upset, any of those types of things, we'll have one conversation. But my primary concern with them is, I'll ask them right up front, do you stop breathing? Do your lips swell up and do you stop breathing? That's a true allergic reaction. If that is the case, then in that case, I would not have someone take one of our products, because no matter how much is there, that component of something can create an issue. But for most people, when they're saying they're allergic, they're just literally having a sensitivity to it. And oftentimes it's because their body is not in balance. And so adding in sometimes healthy components start shifting those things. And we'll address that in a couple of minutes when we talk a little bit about what actually happens with our products.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about what the difference is between NRF2 versus taking all of the ingredients separately? Because I don't know how many times we get asked is, well, I'm already taking all the ingredients in NRF2 or some of the other products. Can you explain the synergistic?
Yeah, I think one of the simplest ways that I explain it a lot of times, because I want things to be simple for people to say. They don't need to be a doctor of pharmacology to be able to explain this, right? That's important. So I tell them, look, you have grandma's favorite cake recipe. It has flour, it has sugar, it has salt, it has baking soda, it has eggs, okay? You got all those sitting out in a plate and a bowl, and you're eating each one of them. Is that the same thing as what comes out of the oven when you have grandma's favorite cake recipe coming out of the oven? No, that's because all those ingredients combined together in that environment become something else. That's the same with our product. It's called synergy, all right? And that's when biochemically, it literally is turning into its own entity, okay? So just like we have a cake come from those ingredients, when we have those individual ingredients, number one, most of the time when they're taking them, they're being told the doses that are being recommended to them. Those doses are much higher than what we have in our NRF2 product. Our NRF2 product are small amounts blended together. And when you take what ends up happening, it's 1,800 times more effective than the pile of those things all added up. And you don't have to take my word for it. We have the studies that prove that. We have the work that's been done to show the difference in the impact of the NRF2 pathway based on taking it as our patented product. The studies on our patented product, not each individual ingredient. Now, we've done the studies to show what each individual ingredient does. But then when we take our product, blend it all together, like I said, It becomes something different from grandma's recipe. And oftentimes I'll have people that can't take turmeric because it's a very large dose, sometimes somewhere around 2,000 milligrams. Well, we have 200 milligrams in our product. So what may have upset them was the large amounts that they were taking, not to mention some of the binders and fillers that are often used in many other products that we don't use.
Also, I've had many people come to me and say, I'm very passionate about this one product, but I notice it does have some of the same ingredients. Can I still take it? And if so, what product should you take first, and how long between the two should I wait?
Well, I always tell people, especially if they've been on several other nutritionals and they're getting started on our products, I'm a firm believer in that you have to give your body time. We are not supplements, we are activators. It's going to take time for the effects to happen within those cells as the balance in those cells is changing. All right. So for instance, if they're on, let's say they're taking turmeric or whatever. I hate to waste things. I don't want to waste somebody's money. I don't want them to just chuck their products. So what I'll tell them is continue taking what you're taking, but I need you to separate them out by at least 2 to 3 hours. Because back to the grandma recipe thing, if you're taking 2,000 milligrams of turmeric and you take that along with NRF2 Protandim, now as that goes into the system isn't seeing that pill by itself with that 200 milligrams of turmeric. It's now seeing that plus 2,000, and it's no longer grandma's perfect recipe. It's grandma's perfect recipe with 17 cups of flour in it instead of 2. All right. So hopefully that'll give you a better idea. And then what you do is you start weaning down from those products because it's, you know what, we've been able to state we reduce oxidative stress. That's the trash buildup in a cell by 40% in 30 days. All right. And it's by about 70% in 90 days. So over that time frame, all these bits and pieces of other things are going to start coming out of the body before you get the true optimization of how these products are going to work. And as a result of it, when you're taking these extra things, you're going to start weaning yourself down from all those extra things because frankly, you don't need them and they're going to get in the way of the activation of the NRF2 because those things are shoving pathways in a supplement form. Okay.
My next question was, can you go into detail on activation? What truly is activation?
And again, that is with our products, small amounts going into our system and actually flipping genes. It's called nutrigenomics. It's called the actual product going into the body, being absorbed and utilized in a fashion that is now going to turn back on our good genes. It's going to now turn back on those pathways that maybe have been diminishing as we get older or as we've experienced illnesses. And those pathways are going to start opening up again. When those pathways start opening up again, many types of biochemistry are going on in that system. All right. So we're now seeing an activation, the body actually physically producing things, not you supplementing and sticking it into the body. We're actually turning on the body's ability to start making those things again.
So can you talk a little bit about the antioxidant production and what happens to our glutathione, our superoxide dismutase, our catalase levels when you start taking our product?
Well, first and foremost, as we're born and we're coming into puberty and heading into our 20s, all of these things are building and turning on, right? But as we head into our 20s, into our mid-20s, that's when our bodies are designed to start slowing down. When those processes happen, we have a cell, and the cell has lots of functioning parts to it. But the main function, we have something in it called a mitochondria. And inside that, that's like the little engine of the cell. The mitochondria take in food and oxygen, and that makes the energy of whatever that cell's purpose is going to be. When that happens, there is a little bit of a byproduct, though, just like a vehicle burning gasoline. There's an oxygen that's left uncoupled. It goes from O2 being utilized for the ATP, for the energy of the cell, down to just O. It uses one oxygen, but it leaves one. That's why it's called oxidative stress. That oxygen is now bouncing around. We then have a pathway designed in us, our NRF2 pathway, and it neutralizes that oxygen so that it can be removed and the cell balances. All right. We also have a pathway called NRF1, and that pathway is how we give our mitochondria the things that it needs. And it's also how we produce more mitochondria. You go to the gym and you exercise, that's one way to get more mitochondria. When you can optimize activating the NRF1 pathway, that's mitochondrial biogenesis. Big word, right? But what we're doing is making more mitochondria and mitochondria that work well. So now you have the yin and the yang in the cell. You have the food and the oxygen coming in, the mitochondria using that for the energy for the cell, and then there's some waste product, and the NRF2 pathway comes on and removes that waste. And those two work in synergy. Then you have something called NAD. And the NAD factor comes in. It's like the general. It's going to help the NRF1 pathway work better. It's going to help the NRF2 pathway work better. And most importantly, one of the keys to it is it helps the cell to understand something called senescence. What senescence is a cell has a lifespan. And over that life of the cell, it has a specific time frame it lives. And when it gets to the end, it's supposed to signal, okay, it's time to die and be replaced. Genetic material comes out of it, called transcription. That cell is replaced and a new cell is made. Here's the difference though. The new cell is a carbon picture of what it just left. So if that cell over a period of time has gotten damaged, when it dies, the new cell starts in that damaged phase. That basically is aging. Okay? Now imagine being able to help the cell do those things optimally again. That's when you can really truly state something is anti-aging, which is what the FDA has allowed us to make a statement of with our products because of what we've been able to prove that we can do. And that is put that balance back in the cell. Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about taking our products with medications? Is there any interference or any concern that someone should have if they're on a pharmaceutical product?
You know, that's always a question I get, especially with me being a doctor of pharmacy. What I love most about our products is we don't have any interactions, so to speak. We don't have any contraindications. Now, having said that, as you're taking our products, and as I've stated what we're doing, you are improving your body over time. And when these things come out, guess what? And I didn't address one of your questions as well as I could have previously. Guess what? We're increasing glutathione. Remember, you asked that question. Glutathione is what the liver helps produce. It helps to clean up everything. All right. And the body is capable with glutathione to do a lot of different things. Now, a lot of people today are on a new bandwagon of, oh, let's go in and get injectable or in IVs of glutathione. Even doing that, there's a biofeedback mechanism that only allows you to get somewhere around 5 or 8% of your glutathione to increase by getting an IV. But when you take the NRF2 product, we have proven to increase our glutathione by 300%. Does it do it directly? No, it's the activation of the NRF2 that activates the liver to do its job. And as a result, we get great amount of glutathione coming in and helping to break down things. The same with our superoxide dismutase. Those are all enzyme processes that all go into keeping that cell healthy and taking out the trash. Okay. And so back to understanding when you have medications and you're on these medications and you're taking this, as your body starts getting better, you may need less of your medication. So a lot of times, I mean, I'll have people that'll be on our products for a little bit of time, and a few things will happen. A, as the body starts waking up and glutathione goes up, there's bits and pieces from those medications that have been stuck in the liver. They get processed in the liver and the kidneys, right? So guess what? Some of those parts, all of a sudden, the body wakes up and goes, holy moly, what's this mess? And it starts getting rid of them. So you may have somebody say, you know what? I'm having a few days where I'm not feeling well. I think your product's making me ill. It's not our product making them ill. It's their body starting to get rid of some of the things that have been stuck there for a while, right? Especially if they've been on medications. Now, there is one exception. When somebody is on blood thinning medications, I'm very cautious because eating green leafy vegetables, having a salad changes dosages on Coumadin and on other blood thinning mechanisms in our body. So we have to be cognizant of the fact that as the body is improving and we're getting rid of some of the junk that's in our blood that's creating the issues why they need to be on the blood thinners are going away. They may actually be starting to need less of their blood thinning products. And that's why it's important for them to make sure that they're having their blood levels tested. I usually say within 6 to 8 weeks, at least inside 3 months of getting started. And I will start people that are on Coumadin and blood thinning products a little bit slower so that their body has a chance to get caught up. Okay.
One of the biggest things that I asked as well is, can I take this on an empty stomach? How do you take it? When should you take it? And I think it would be helpful for people to understand. I know the recommendation is to take it with fat. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, first and foremost, God designed us to eat food, not a bunch of pills, right? Isn't that what we've been designed for foods. So I want you to think in terms of our products being developed as a food source. We try to put in the least amount of things to hold them together. We try to put in the things, whatever we have that is not a plant part, if it's going to be in a very tiny amount, and it's going to be because it's the only way we can keep a tablet held together, or it's going to be the only way that it's going to be carried through the body. Now, the reason we have to have fat is because the fat, many people think you just take in things and then it goes through your stomach and then it just kind of goes out through your digestive tract out into your blood. It's not exactly that way. We have all kinds of mechanisms that are in there, enzymes that break things down. There's our microbiome. There's different types of microbiotics. Microbiome is a terminology for a colony of lots of different probiotics that are there taking out things and carrying them across the gut. And they have to be carried. So when we take fats, it helps, if you will, to carry things along so that they can connect to the various things that they need to be connected to carry the nutrient components into the blood and then to be utilized. And it also helps signal things. It helps signal that you're getting full. It helps signal all those kinds of things. When you take it on an empty stomach, you're not going to optimize those products being utilized as food sources, which is exactly what we want them to be.
Thank you. Also, we have a lot of research. We have a lot of peer-reviewed research. Why is LifeVantage different? What sets us apart in the research department of what we have? Because I know that when I first joined LifeVantage, I was blown away because you don't typically see product listed by name in PubMed. Can you explain our research?
Yes, I think what really truly sets us apart is the research that's been done. Many of the studies that are out there, LifeVantage did not even pay for it. Other people paid for it because what they heard that we did, they wanted to validate. They wanted, and maybe in some cases try to prove us wrong. I don't know that for sure, but I just know our industry, and they wanted to see if it really did. And so when you look at our studies in PubMed.gov, one of the things that sets us apart is that you will see our products by trade name. You don't see that. Most of the times when people are saying that, when you have other companies saying, oh, well, here's the research behind, and this is why we do what we do, they are borrowing the science from the study done on that vitamin over there, but it's not what's actually in their bottle. Now, it may be, yeah, there's vitamin C here and vitamin C here, but you don't have any clue if what they tested is here. And again, back to what we stated earlier, because there's not huge regulations in this industry, you could have 5, 6, 7, 8 different ingredients on a bottle listed. And you could actually take that out and you may find very little or a lot more of what they're saying is on there because there's no regulations. Now, some of the better companies are going to be a lot closer to it. But when they do their studies, they're borrowing the science that somebody did on those ingredients over there. Our studies are done on our trademarked products. And that is a very unique situation. And frankly, one of the main reasons that I'm here.
One of the most common questions I think all of us get, or concerns even, is if a person's on our product for a month and they'll say, I don't feel anything. How do we address that? And what is your advice to people?
Oh, yes, I get that all the time. So first and foremost, you don't feel wellness, you feel illness. You feel the body breaking down. The body is signaling to you so you know things aren't right. When you're feeling well, you just feel well, right? Now, if your body's been breaking down and breaking down and breaking down, and all of a sudden you're going to be taking something to help change that situation, I'll be honest with you, it is not going to turn over overnight. We are not a pharmaceutical product where I have pain today, I take this pill today, and the pain's gone because it shut off that pathway. That's not what we do. What our products are intended to do is to give the body back what it needs to activate the proper processes. So when they're not feeling anything, in a month, I can guarantee whatever was wrong with them or whatever issues that they've had, it didn't happen overnight. They may think it did, but it's been building over time and over time and over time, and other things may have been happening. The other thing is, a lot of times when people start taking our products, there may be things that are improving that they weren't focused on or thinking about. They've got that one thing, that one issue they're thinking about. Oh, I've got this really terrible headache. Well, I'm still having my headache. But oh my goodness, so didn't even pay attention. All of a sudden my hands are working and all of a sudden my back isn't hurting. And I mean, it's funny when things aren't hurting and when things aren't not working right, we don't pay a lot of attention to them. And so what I ask people up front most of the time is, what are you hoping to accomplish when you're taking these products? I want to set realistic expectations because I can tell you, if your arm is cut off, you're not growing a new arm. Okay? Our goal is to optimize what you have to operate in the best ability that it can for as long as it can. And that's called healthy longevity, which is basically the definition of where we're trying to be.
My final question is, what do you recommend people keep track of? I know that you had created a sheet that you give every customer, and I've been doing the same thing. What do you recommend when people start our product or products that they start paying attention to?
Well, you know what? Oftentimes when people come to me and they've been on our product for a little while and then they tell me all of a sudden it stopped working or they're not feeling right or whatever, they're not paying attention to some of the other changes that they just had. And it's always interesting to me because they don't take into account that, oh, well, I lost my job last week, or, you know what, my child moved back home with me, or I'm in the middle of, some kind of dispute. There's a lot of emotional component to what we have. So I like people to be able to keep track of more than just what's going in their mouth. I like them to keep track of, what things are they taking? And what good things are they starting to feel? What things would they like to have improve? List those. And over time, hopefully, we can take a look and see if that's going to work and see if that's going to be the path. Do we need to tweak something? Do we need to add in a little bit more omegas? Do we need to, you know what? There are some people that require more than one NRF2. I know that that's our dose for the majority of people. But when you've had a cavalcade of huge numbers of huge bad things happening, sometimes you're going to require more than one. And if that's the case, I often make a recommendation that once they get started and they're on our NRF2, sometimes I have them take one in the morning with their food and their fats, and then take another one at dinner and go for a couple of weeks and see how those things look. But for me, I like people to just take a look at just kind of their overall health and what is it that they're actually focusing on that they want to see improved. Because right now, they may not see that improvement today, tomorrow, at the end of the month. But it's amazing what happens as you get through 6-month time period. There's people that totally forgot that they had certain issues, and I always remind people, when I got started, I had no intention of doing this business. I was in a wheelchair due to a lot of issues that had happened to me with treatments and medications. And you know what? To have my blood work changed so much that my doctors called me and told me I had to get my blood work done again. That's astronomical. That's when I knew that I had to be, once I was feeling better, which was fairly quickly, now I'm obligated to be able, as a healthcare professional, to share this information with as many as I can, because we can make a huge impact for a lot of people. We just have to help them have the right expectations at the right time and to work through the process to help them get there. But honestly, I've never seen a tool that works as well as this has for me. Is it the perfect answer? No, but it's a great answer. And it's the best that I know of currently to help, along with exercise. You got to move. Doesn't mean you have to go kill yourself at the gym for 2 hours every day. It just means you have to get your buns out of a chair and walk around. Move. You got to have water. I tell people, start your day with a big glass of water. All night long, your body's repairing and dumping all kinds of stuff into your body, into your blood vessels. And guess what? You get up in the morning, your blood is like sludge. So guess what? Have a great big glass of water. That's going to help clear out and give your kidneys and liver a little bit of a break. And along with that, you know what? We try our best to stay away from so many of the seed oils that are present in so many processed foods today. And as a result of that, that's creating a lot of issues for people. So those are all kind of recommendations that I make. And Kim, maybe you have some that you like to add in for what you have your people do.
For the most part, you covered everything. I really spend a lot of time with people when I discuss our products with them, because I don't want, it does no good for anyone, especially our company, to bring in a customer or a consultant and just have them on the products for a short period of time. As we age, I was always told it was 1 month per decade that you're alive. I'm currently almost 49, so that's 5 to 6 months, so that you would want to be on the products for optimal levels in your body. But I think my biggest piece of advice is, like you said, staying hydrated, eating a balanced diet, sticking with this so that, I after over 8 years and coming in 2016 and seeing the health transformations that I know you've seen, I've seen everyone that has stuck around and really, planted their roots in our company, see in people. It doesn't take just a month. Sometimes it's quick for people. Yes, for me, it was 5 days, but it's been building. And now I've been on the products for over 8 years, and I will take them till the day that I die. I think this is a very powerful set of health tools for our health toolbox.
Exactly. And as we said, it's important to have a movement, to have water. It's important to have a proper mindset. The mind is the most powerful. And so, you know what, those are things that I tell people when you find yourself feeling a little bit excited or maybe a little bit out of control or depressed or whatever. One of the things I didn't mention earlier, I always start my day with 10 deep breaths. Again, we're pulling out extra trash out of our body that's now not going to have to go through the kidneys and the liver. So those 10 deep breaths, and then I find myself in the middle of the day, oh my gosh, I've got this, I've got that. And you know what? When you do those 10 deep breaths, guess what? It's free. They haven't figured out how to charge us for the air yet, thankfully. B, it resets cortisol pathways. It resets our adrenals. It resets a lot of things. And it's just that minute of just taking just a moment and just relaxing just a minute will go a long way to helping all of these things all work in conjunction together.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much for sitting with me. I think this is going to be, I know it will be very valuable information to pass on to a lot of people that have these questions. And I just so appreciate you and your expertise.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.